The fate of human lives has always been a captivating subject for film. Snake Moan is a movie that delves deep into the psychology of desire, breaking down barriers to reveal the harsh truths faced by unfortunate victims. Christina Ricci stars as a young woman addicted to sex, while Samuel L. Jackson plays Lazarus, a former blues guitarist tormented by the pain of losing his wife, who left him after an act of betrayal. When these two lives cross paths, they create a compelling work of cinematic art. This video will reveal the movie's details, so check back later if you prefer to watch the film first. The film opens with the narration of a black man, like an echoing lament about the love between men and women. It quickly transitions to a soft, intimate scene between Ray and her boyfriend Ronnie, a young man about to leave for service in the 196th Artillery Brigade, portrayed by singer Justin Timberlake. Christina Ricci masterfully conveys Ray's longing and anguish, presenting an emotional tone quite distinct from the expressions often seen in Eastern cultures. Instead of clinging sentimentality or tearful farewell, she channels her pain through anger and an intense yearning for love, a raw, primal display of emotion. The image of the car slowly driving away, leaving Ray standing in an empty, barren space, evokes a deep sense of loneliness and unfulfilled desire. The rest of the story leads Ray to confront the demons within herself. The scene shifts to Lazarus, together with Father John Cothran, portrayed by Reverend R.L., just before a meeting with the wife who had betrayed him, a conversation meant to save a marriage teetering on the brink. However, defining the relationship does nothing to change his wife's mind. In the end, he returns to his simple daily life, tending to his home and deciding to destroy the rose garden that bore his wife's name. Lazarus loved his wife, remained faithful to his beliefs, and gave up music for the sake of family. Yet his hopes for love could not move the heart of a woman who had been unfaithful. It is almost as if fate mocked him when he found himself face to face with his own cousin, the very man who had shattered his marriage. The mix of anger and wounded pride brings a decisive end to this betrayal. Ever since Ronnie left, Ray remained haunted by her desires. Frustrated and restless, she threw herself into the frenzied rhythms of parties, drugs, and alcohol, brief escapes that dulled the ache of loneliness. The turning point came when Ronnie's close friend brought her back home, only to beat her unconscious and abandon her by the roadside. The depth of emotion and dedication to her craft made Ricci's performance extraordinary, perhaps the very reason audiences grew to love Snake Moan. Christina Ricci even underwent a strict regimen to achieve the film's look, replacing every daily meal with nothing but sugar. And as fate would have it, one morning Lazarus awoke and, while preparing to throw away bags of mementos from his wife, he stumbled upon Ray, half-naked, feverish, and unconscious by the roadside. Guided by compassion and faith, he brought her home and hurried into town to buy medicine. It was then that Lazarus encountered Tyrone, a playboy who had once spent the night with Ray and learned the truth about her life. The director reveals that Ray's troubled past, rooted in traumatic childhood experiences, is the direct cause of her mental illness, hinting at the harsh reality of child sexual abuse that still exists in the Western world. The film's crisp, beautiful shots and Ricci's masterful portrayal of the raw, instinctive emotions tied to sexuality are striking. Lazarus, himself a wounded man, restrains his desires, lives by his faith, and upholds a sense of moral conduct. In that moment, he realizes that Ray is the destiny God has placed in his path. Director Craig Brewer crafts two intertwined fates, finding deep empathy within the broken fragments of their lives. The latter part of the film becomes a battle against Ray's mental illness and compulsive sexual desires, perhaps an even heavier burden than emotional numbness itself. We witness vivid scenes. Ray immersed in a tub of ice, writhing on a filthy floor, her small body bound by a steel chain, each moment a stunning display of performance. Ray struggles to break free from Lazarus's chain, but he refuses to release her until she is truly healed. It is not an act of punishment or domination, but rather a way to protect her from herself. This chain of fate eventually gives rise to a deep friendship between them. Over time, we also hear moments of Lazarus's own vulnerability, sometimes even laced with humor, as he reveals the feelings he has long kept inside. The film features several surrounding characters whose presence, in various ways, reflects the struggle between reason and desire. A neighborhood boy who happens to appear in front of Lazarus's house becomes the spark that triggers Ray's relapse into desire. A preacher and friend of Lazarus is also brought in to save Ray, but even faith proves insufficient to free her from the darkness within. Simple hopes inevitably meet initial resistance. In the end, however, the blues, symbolizing pure communication, emerges as a powerful tool to soothe Ray's soul. If the chain represents the battle within, then the blues is the remedy that calms that war. The final truth Ray must confront lies in the events of her own life. She seeks out her mother, a woman who appeared briefly at the beginning of the film as a shop worker in town. Beneath the surface of this family lies the enduring shadow of terrifying memories. Poverty and abuse haunted Ray into adulthood, and her mother's cowardly mistakes, never denied, failed to keep her safe or happy. Perhaps her mother wasn't so much disappointed in Ray or in the townspeople as she was afraid to face her, weighed down by deep, unshakable guilt. The scene where Ray strikes her mother carries an immense emotional release, a breaking point of pent-up anguish. In the end, redemption may no longer be a central concern in the story's context. The film's perspective, as shaped by the director, reflects genuine nurturing as a counter to a tragic fate. Many creative shots and visual compositions, blending diverse tones and colors, are used to tell this layered story. The film's ending truly centers on the characters as they make the effort to confront reality. Black Snake Moan is like a faint, desperate cry, one that faith and blues music can soothe. It offers a hopeful conclusion, one satisfying to both the eyes and the mind, where every moment carries its own distinct emotion. While the film contains heavy language and violent elements, it stands as a striking portrait that also reflects the hidden anxieties tied to childhood development, an aspect parents should approach with care. As Robert Schumann once said, "The noble mission of music is to reveal the innermost depths of the human heart." And in this film, music lies at its very core, easing the pain of troubled souls. That concludes this review. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.